Right, let me ask you something that's sending shockwaves through the Bernabéu tonight. What happens when one of the most decorated midfielders in football history, managing the biggest club in the world, faces the sack after just 7 months in charge? Tomorrow, January 11th, 2026, isn't just another El Clásico. It's D-Day for Xabi Alonso. One match, one result, his entire Real Madrid legacy on the line. And lads, the pressure? It's absolutely suffocating. Welcome back to Real Football, where we dissect the beautiful game like surgeons. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button, because what I'm about to tell you is the kind of inside story that'll have you questioning everything you thought you knew about Real Madrid's season. Let's rewind to June 2025. Carlo Ancelotti, the man who delivered La Liga, the Champions League, and kept the dressing room purring like a Ferrari engine, departed the Bernabéu. Florentino Perez, Don Florentino himself, wanted revolution. He wanted intensity, tactical sophistication, and a manager who could implement the high-pressing, possession-based football that's dominating European football. Enter Xabi Alonso, fresh off an absolutely biblical season at Bayer Leverkusen, where he went the entire Bundesliga campaign unbeaten, clinched their first ever title, and completed the domestic double. On paper, brilliant appointment. A club legend who understood the DNA of Real Madrid, a tactical genius who just rewritten German football history, and a manager with the respect of every player in world football. The board handed him a 3-year contract, backed him publicly, and the Madridistas, they were buzzing. Finally, a proper project manager, not just a short-term fix. Fast forward 7 months, and we're sat here discussing whether he'll survive past tomorrow. How on earth did we get here? The season started like a dream, didn't it? Alonso won La Liga Manager of the Month for August after a perfect start. 4 wins from 4. The team looked sharp, organised and hungry. But here's where football gets ruthless. 1 loss at Liverpool on November 4th, and the entire house of cards started tumbling down. Since that Anfield defeat, Real Madrid have won just twice in 8 matches. 2 wins, 8 games. For a club that considers anything less than a trophy a crisis, that's borderline catastrophic. They're currently 4th in La Liga, 4 points behind Barcelona, who are absolutely flying under their current form. In the Champions League, they're 7th with 12 points from 6 games, hardly the dominance expected from 15-time European champions. But let me give you the proper context here, because the numbers only tell half the story. According to reports from Diario AS, and these are Madrid-leaning journalists who have direct lines into the Bernabéu, Perez and the board held crisis talks deep into the night after that shocking 2-1 home defeat to Celta Vigo. The Supercopa de España became Alonso's final test. Win it, impress with performances, or pack your bags. Then came the semi-final against Atletico Madrid on January 8th. Just 2 days ago, Real Madrid scraped through 2-1 with Federico Valverde producing an absolute thunderbolt of a free kick and providing an assist. They're through to tomorrow's final against Barcelona. But here's the thing. The performance was unconvincing, the tension was palpable, and there was a moment that encapsulated everything wrong at the Bernabéu right now. Diego Simeone, that master of the dark arts, tried to rile up Vinicius Jr. during the match. Vinny's been struggling for form. Real Madrid's own fans have whistled him on occasions this season, and Simeone clearly saw blood in the water. When Vinicius was substituted, Simeone made comments toward him, the referee had to intervene, and the Argentine tactician got booked. Now, Alonso's post-match response was interesting. He came out and said, "I heard what Simeone said to Vinny, and I didn't like it. You cannot talk like that. Some things cross the line. It's unacceptable, and it's a lack of fair play." Publicly backing your player? That's management 101. But here's what's been whispered around the Spanish press. Alonso's relationship with certain players, particularly the superstars, is fractured, and that brings us to the elephant in the room. According to multiple sources, including reports from Mundo Deportivo and Sport, yes, they're Barcelona-leaning, but smoke doesn't exist without fire. There are significant cracks in the Madrid dressing room. 2 names keep appearing, Kylian Mbappé and Vinicius Jr. Let's start with Mbappé. The French superstar arrived last summer as the marquee signing, the heir to the throne, the man who'd lead Madrid into a new era. His relationship with Alonso, reportedly icy at best. Why? Multiple sources suggest it's a clash of personalities and expectations. Mbappé at PSG was given freedom, tactical freedom, positional freedom, the freedom to express himself without rigid, systematic constraints. He was the main man, the superstar around whom everything revolved. Alonso Alonso, however, is a disciple of Pep Guardiola's school of thought. He demands positional discipline, aggressive counter-pressing, synchronized movements, and players who'll sacrifice individual glory for collective success. For someone like Mbappé, who spent years as the focal point, adapting to a system where he's asked to track back, press from the front, and hold specific positions has been, let's say, challenging. The Frenchman wasn't even available for the Atletico semi-final, and while the official line was tactical decision, Spanish journalists suggest there's more beneath the surface. Then there's Vinicius Jr. Now, Vinny's situation is slightly different. He's been at Madrid longer. He's won everything with this club, but his form has nosedived this season. The Brazilian has looked frustrated, disconnected from the team's patterns of play, and there's been speculation, unconfirmed, mind you, but persistent, that he doesn't fully buy into Alonso's tactical demands either. Here's what AS reported, and this is crucial. The concern isn't so much the play and the results, as the fact that the dressing room doesn't quite understand what Xabi Alonso wants at certain times. Confidence in both the coach and the team is absolute, but it's also true that it's surprising that they suddenly disconnected after having overcome the biggest trauma of last season. In plain English, the players are confused. They don't fully grasp Alonso's tactical instructions during matches, and when things go wrong, there's no clear plan B. Compare that to Ancelotti, who might not have been the most tactically innovative manager, but he knew how to manage egos, rotate systems mid-game, and keep every superstar feeling valued. Now let's talk about the man who truly holds Alonso's fate in his hands. Florentino Perez. Journalist Juan Castro from Marca, one of the most well-connected reporters in Spanish football, said this after Madrid's recent home defeat: "I don't think Perez wants this kind of manager. What Perez doesn't accept in any case is the defeat. That's the reality at Real Madrid, isn't it? Results are everything. Perez didn't build this Galactico empire to finish fourth in La Liga or scrape through Champions League knockout rounds. He wants dominance, spectacle, and trophies. Plural." But here's where it gets complicated. According to Fabrizio Romano, who's arguably the most reliable transfer journalist in football, Perez still maintains total trust in Alonso. Romano said on his YouTube channel, "At the moment, I can guarantee you that Real Madrid, in terms of the highest people at the club, including the president Florentino Perez, maintain a total trust in Xabi Alonso. However," and this is a massive however, Romano also acknowledged there are problems at the club. Not a complete disaster, but issues that need sorting. And let's be honest, in football, problems can escalate to crisis faster than Mbappé running in behind a high defensive line. The truth? Perez is pragmatic. If tomorrow's El Clásico goes wrong, and I mean properly wrong, a hammering, a performance that suggests the team has completely lost faith in the manager, then not even Alonso's legendary status will save him. Sport reported that Perez reminded Madrid fans he only went for Alonso after Jurgen Klopp turned down the Bernabéu job. That's a telling detail. Alonso wasn't the first choice. He was the best available choice. Right before we bury the man, let's be fair and assess what Xabi Alonso has actually brought to Real Madrid. Tactically, he's tried to implement a hybrid system, primarily a 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-3 formation with aggressive wing-backs, a deep-lying playmaker dictating tempo, and rapid transitions from defense to attack. It's the same blueprint that demolished the Bundesliga last season. At Leverkusen, he had Granit Xhaka as that metronomic deep midfielder, Alejandro Grimaldo and Jeremy Frimpong bombing up and down the flanks, and a front three that pressed like maniacs. It worked because those players bought into the system completely and had a full pre-season to drill the patterns. At Madrid, he's working with superstars who've won everything playing a different way. Luka Modric is 40 years old, still brilliant, but can he press for 90 minutes? Jude Bellingham, for all his talent, is more of a box-to-box destroyer than a positional playmaker. The pieces don't quite fit. To Alonso's credit, when the system clicks, Madrid look absolutely scintillating. That 4-0 demolition of Barcelona early in the season, textbook Alonso football, high press, quick turnovers, clinical finishing. The problem is consistency. For every brilliant performance, there's a toothless display like the Liverpool loss or the Rayo Vallecano draw. Alonso's also been unlucky with injuries. This season has been an absolute nightmare on that front. Eder Militao, David Alaba, Thibaut Courtois at various points. Key players missing for extended periods. That 2-1 win over Manchester City in December, where Madrid were depleted but competed fiercely, that showed character, and many journalists pointed to it as evidence the players are still fighting for Alonso. Jude Bellingham, after that City match, told TNT Sport, "I personally have a great relationship with him him. A lot of the lads do as well. No one's downing tools, no one's complaining and moaning thinking the season is over. That's public support. But football's full of players who praise managers publicly while privately wanting them gone. The real test? What happens when the pressure truly intensifies and tomorrow it doesn't get more intense? So, tomorrow, January 11th, 2026, Real Madrid versus Barcelona in the Supercopa de España final. Let's set the scene. Barcelona are absolutely flying. They've won their last 7 matches across all competitions, scoring 21 goals in the process. Their attack, led by their current crop of stars, is functioning like a well-oiled machine. Defensively, they've been solid. Momentum entirely with them. Real Madrid, meanwhile, are limping into this final. 2 wins in 8 games, confidence fragile, a manager under immense pressure, and key players either injured, out of form, or reportedly unhappy. Historically, the Supercopa has been relatively balanced between these two giants. Barcelona have won it 14 times, Real Madrid 13 times. In recent editions, it's been tight, often decided by single goals, moments of brilliance, or individual errors. But here's the kicker. This Supercopa is being played in Saudi Arabia at the King Abdullah Sports City in Jeddah. Neutral venue, but both sets of fans will be there in numbers. The atmosphere will be electric, the stakes couldn't be higher. And for Alonso, it's genuinely win or face the sack. What does Alonso need to do tomorrow? First, he needs a tactical plan that actually works. Playing a high line against Barcelona's pace could be suicidal. He needs Modric and Bellingham to control the midfield. He needs his wing-backs to provide width without leaving gaps in behind. And most importantly, he needs his forwards, whoever starts, to actually take their chances. Second, he needs his superstars to perform. If Mbappe plays, he needs a statement performance. If Vinicius starts, he needs to rediscover that explosiveness that made him one of the world's best. Rodrigo showed glimpses in the Atletico game, but glimpses aren't enough in El Clásico. Third, and perhaps most crucially, he needs to show tactical flexibility. One of the criticisms aimed at Alonso is his rigidity. When plan A isn't working, does he have a plan B? Can he adapt mid-game? Ancelotti was a master at this, reading games, making subtle tweaks, bringing on the right substitutes at the right times. Alonso hasn't shown that same tactical fluidity yet, so is Xabi Alonso getting sacked tomorrow? Here's my honest assessment as a Real Madrid fan who wants nothing more than success for this club. If Madrid lose tomorrow, especially if they lose badly, Alonso's position becomes untenable. Perez won't tolerate another humiliation, the fans will turn completely, and the players will sense blood in the water. There are already reports suggesting that if Alonso goes, the board have a shortlist ready. Names like Roberto De Zerbi, Julian Nagelsmann, and even Zinedine Zidane returning for a third stint have been whispered. If Madrid win, Alonso buys himself time. Not a lot of time, maybe until the end of the season, but enough to try and salvage something from this campaign. A trophy, Champions League qualification, anything to justify the board's faith in him. If Madrid draw or lose narrowly but show genuine fight passion and tactical coherence, that's the grey area. Perez might give him a stay of execution, but the scrutiny will intensify. Every subsequent match becomes a referendum on his future. Here's the thing that frustrates me as a Madridista. Alonso is a brilliant manager. What he achieved at Leverkusen was nothing short of miraculous. An entire unbeaten Bundesliga season in an era of Bayern dominance. That's legendary stuff. But Real Madrid is a different beast. It's not just about tactics and systems. It's about managing egos, handling pressure from the board and the fans, and delivering trophies while playing attractive football. Maybe Alonso needed more time. Maybe he needed a proper pre-season with these players. Maybe he needed to sign that creative midfielder he reportedly wanted in the summer. But football doesn't deal in maybes. It deals in results, and right now the results aren't good enough. Tomorrow's El Clásico isn't just a football match, it's a trial by fire for Xabi Alonso, a litmus test for this Real Madrid squad, and potentially the beginning of the end, or the spark that ignites a late-season revival. As a Real Madrid fan, I'll be watching with my heart in my mouth, desperately hoping we see the vintage Madrid performance, the kind that reminds the world why we're the greatest club in history. But if I'm brutally honest, I'm nervous. The signs haven't been good, the momentum is against us, and Barcelona look absolutely ruthless right now. Whatever happens tomorrow, one thing's certain. This is make or break for Xabi Alonso at Real Madrid. 7 months into his reign, his entire legacy at the Bernabéu hangs by the finest of threads. If you've made it this far, you're a real one. Smash that subscribe button for Real Football, hit the like button if you want Madrid to absolutely batter Barcelona tomorrow, and drop a comment telling me your prediction for the match. Are we seeing Alonso's last dance, or is this the moment he silences the doubters? Until tomorrow, Hala Madrid. Let's pray we're still saying that with belief come full time.